It is finally here, the big season finale of The Rings of Power Season 2, and we have now suffered through 8 episodes, and the cluelessness of the entire production is frightening, and so is this final episode. The Dwarf King, driven by his ring, discovers incredible treasures in his mountain, and finally also the Balrog, which has been announced for 9 episodes or more. Suddenly he puts his ring away. No one could get him to do that before, and also here without a course change or motivation, and then jumps to his death like in a bad animated series, and the Balrog and he are buried. Barely a minute there, he's gone again. And from now on, you have to be prepared for this, unfortunately to be expected, procedure to bring all the forgotten threads together. No, not really, rather to scratch them a little. In the last review, I already stated that far too much is open, far too little has happened, and entire plots have been put on hold, and that this could never be solved sensibly. And that's exactly what is happening now, unfortunately, and with an enormous budget of around 200 million. And everything is also so completely lame and unsurprising. The magician meets the evil one, who says he's a good one, and then a minute later reveals himself to be evil. This happens like in a children's theater, so that everyone always knows who the bad guy is and who is lying, instead of being subtle. And so it goes on in Numenor. Everything is staged like in an amateur theater. The direction and the script fail completely, and so it goes on. Again, you jump into the middle of the siege. Individual scenes are dealt with. Plot points are simply chopped off. No scene has depth because they didn't take the time to build something up beforehand. The fight scenes shown are once again a lame joke. Nothing is recognizable, choreographed, or is unique. So why should you watch such a scene again? Simply sword melee like at medieval markets all over the world. Meanwhile, Sauron searches for the rings. Celebrimbor gets impaled by him and dies an undignified death, thanks to the entire team of the series. Elendil's son and the orphan boy also appear again. They haven't had to do anything for a long time, and after 26 minutes the boredom and meaninglessness of everything takes over, and you can't hardly wait for the end, because everyone just gets a little scene, as if you want to say, hey, they were still here as well. Then there is another kiss scene from nowhere. As always, never established, never introduced, results are simply presented and not the way to get there, which is so typical for these authors who only work through events instead of creating real moments, creating characters with depth, or build up tension and suspense. Then there is a scene with Dutch angles everywhere, also out of nowhere. Galadriel is trapped again and wants to ally herself with Adar, but Sauron gets the Uruks on his side. All this was your design from the beginning, Galadriel states, and at least Sauron and the writers admit you think too much of me. By the way, these were the 2 lines that could perfectly describe the entire season, which is unintentional, unmotivated, and like a ship without a captain, simply exposing itself to any waves without a goal, only that this happens in the most expensive series of all time. Then also Elrond and the Elven King are captured. It would have been great to witness that, so not only to be presented with results again, also to see the way there. But there was certainly no time for that after almost 9 hours of continuous babble. Where is the epic that should at least be seen in Lord of the Rings? Where are the deeds instead of words? At least Celebrimbor's scrolls get a slow motion, as if they meant more to someone than the whole cast, even though you had never seen anything of them before. In the final fight, Sauron then conjures himself up into various characters, like the cheapest script idea that was worn out already 30 years ago. We've seen that 200 times, and this indictment of the lack of ideas is frightening. And then finally comes the liberation. The dwarf army with machine gun crossbows, and to illustrate this epic of such a scene, that is the rescue of Middle-earth, the Elven Lords, what has been mentioned as a goal for several episodes, I show it here in full length, uncut. Yes, that's the scene, the final fight, the great liberation. Oh no, it's gone. Oh, I'm sorry, but apparently this big moment is unfortunately not as important as the scrolls, which no one had ever seen before, but whose burning was apparently intended to move to tears. Galadriel now throws herself to her death as if that would protect her ring from Sauron. Well, he could go down now and take it from her. But no, they have to flee, because now that the powerful, more invisible dwarven army is there, the Uruks are suddenly too weak. Although they were unbeatable seconds before, but anyway, we already had that in the last episode. The forces are diametrically reversed so quickly, so from completely overwhelmed despite the dwarves to complete opposite in minutes, that any consistency in this regard would be sought in vain. At the end, there is a collage of the storylines, so that you don't forget what there is and what you hadn't experienced and seen. And in the aftermath, Tom Bombadil and supposedly Gandalf sing, "Now let the song begin." So this should have started in Season 1, but at the latest 8 episodes ago, and even more scenes are shown, the end is further delayed and again completely wrongly weighted. Instead of epic before, there's now eternal battle. The Rings of Power has a hard time after this final episode. Will anyone be able to continue to be enthusiastic about this series when plot, suspense, action, and epic have become a foreign word? Isn't it enough with senseless scenes, and shouldn't more meaningful ones be shown? Why are only results presented and not the way to get there, and why does no one notice this in this production? I'll shed light on everything again in my season review and draw a conclusion, also make a comparison with the first season. So stay tuned for that and what's to come on this channel.